altogether. Thank you. Interhologram. This is a message from Joseph P. Firmage. So, the concept of an initial public service offering, at its definitional root, as far as I am concerned, founder, first instance, if you will, it's the presentation or self-presentation, in this case, of a person who desires to launch a career into public service. An initial public service offering. That's how I mean it and define it in my lingo that carries forward the best traditions of basically the financial equivalent of solid governmental peer review for basically a commitment to serve the nation as a whole or the citizens of a state or city. One can imagine that an IPSO could be the subject of a new mayor for Salt Lake City, for example. And I hope that this model is employed as such by other aspirants in the future to federal, state, and local service to their towns, their cities, their states, and the federal government can use the best and the brightest as well. I heard some disappointing news about the recruiting rate for the Army of our 6 branches now of the military, that we were suffering from a recruitment pause for the Army itself. Now, I will tell you, my friends, particularly my young graduates to be from every university and college in this great nation, I so wish that I had taken the opportunity, now that I reflect upon my life, to have joined the Navy, and I would have been an admiral today. My friends, it takes a lifetime experience to earn such a title, and I'm one who has it in my own special way, having served in the private sector. But you have, if you're listening to this message, in any university town, any college town in our great nation, you can rest assured that I will be looking at the nation's recruitment numbers for the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. The United States Space Force, and let us not forget the valiant Coast Guard, the Department of Homeland Security, including the Coast Guard, and we will make resolutions to refine the organization of these 6 branches of what I expect to propose to be renamed officially as our Space Force launches its first command center in low to near Earth orbit, the hexagon, indeed. Sign up, my friends, who are coming into or just about to decide how to come out of college. Do yourself, do your nation proud, and consider joining the United States military as a recruit. And I look forward to seeing many of you in that pursuit, as I would and will in my own way at the top. So, good luck and sign up this year to join the United States military. I'll lead you, and so will our great nation and the world. We have extraordinary plans ahead, and I salute you.
Precursors to the multi-million-dollar machines that we've built in the recent decade. And 0-3-1 an experiment that is a great high school project for future budding physicists and engineers who would like to create a future for our civilization that's inevitably ahead. When I stepped aside into a different role in the information economy and back into physics engineering was to see this day happen, because the technologies are so sophisticated that for the first point, in the wrong hands, let's say in the wrong hands of parties like we see in Hamas in the Middle East, or even more mild versions of such atrocious terrorists, cannot be given, lest we have a whole new category of weapons of mass destruction, rather than works of mass construction, which is what I'm about, and why I decided to run for president, to deploy vastly more advanced versions of the relative toy that nonetheless works and demonstrates new physics. Those advancements are why I believe I am required in the next White House. They are part of a category of extraordinary developments in human affairs brought about in the IT sense since the birth of the semiconductor in 1947, no less, and in physics with the rebirth of what I would call neo-Newtonian physics that unify effectively all branches of theoretical physics and ultimately experimental physics into a common understanding of how nature's forces actually work. More generally, the experience that I bring to the White House to come, I trust and hope, will be self-evident, and I know of no single cabinet department from the Department of Defense, for which it's obvious, but for Treasury, Health and Human Services, even Veterans Affairs, obviously Energy, Transportation. Every single cabinet department has opportunities and challenges that require scientific and technological expertise at the top, including warfighting, as we see the most advanced carrier groups that our nation possesses, including the Gerald Ford carrier group fleet on its way, now dropping anchor near the Middle Eastern hell zone that we best prevent from turning into an all-out war zone. The commitment to these ethics has always been in my character, and I know that there have been times where there have been heated words exchanged and differences of appraisal on what matters to me, but let me just say it this way. As the CEO of Science Invent and as the principal, the candidate for permits for president, now able to launch with my FEC filing, I am committed to always doing the right thing by those who have provisioned money. That does not mean I control acts of God, such as we have seen with more than 3 bank collapses in 2023, a historic debt ceiling crisis averted, and now a budget crisis for the coming fiscal year that still has not been resolved properly, especially without a Speaker of the House. And that does not include the prospect of the commencement of a World War III in the heart of the Holy Land, the Holy Lands in general in the Middle East. These mitigate against the ability to predict accurately all the time, or even most of the time during such crises. But I can tell you this, The fact that we have such a solid financial and governing backbone on this IPSO means that it is, in my opinion, professionally, after more than 50 securities class transactions closed during my career of $1 million up to 9 figures on my watch. In all those times, I have never felt more confident, more assured from the partners with whom I work that this capitalization event is proceeding afoot. We'll pay the principal debts first and then proceed as rapidly as possible to the transfers that provide compensation for the incentives for taking a leap of faith with me. Not just on me, but with me. As those of you who have put money in have generally understood the risks. And I know that
my friends and colleagues,
you're qualified, and so am I. So please make sure that you support me in this final few hours of this transition from the private sector to the public sector. I deserve it. You need it, because I'm your quarterback on your team, not the opposing one. As capital flows, you're going to have it, my friends, and this commitment stands. I look forward to seeing a number of smiling faces by tomorrow into business Eastern, think 6 o'clock Eastern, as we begin to pay principal back. And as the next few days, next week unfold, I expect and hope to see everybody in this sacred network of my professional colleagues and friends smiling at a new day, a new era for their monetary health. So thank you. And with this, I will take my leave again, and I expect to see you on Zoom from Washington, D.C. Thank you. God bless you, my friends. It's an absolutely gorgeous October 23rd, 2023, and I'm in good spirits today with having accomplished some things that have taken a very long time, many years, 25 years, to this week that Project Renaissance came about. And at this juncture, we have so much going on here, including a garden park ward trunk or treat. That's a new take on that phrase. Kids to be. I will not be here, I trust. So the kids to be will have some fun here. You imagine this place tricked out for Halloween. Goodness sakes. All right. This brings me to a pertinent point for you, my friendly agent. Clean off the screen here, just and that brings me to you, my friendly agent. We've had a long time to not get to know each other in person, and that's pretty ridiculous, I think. These protocols of communication leave a lot to be desired, but it is what it is, and I don't have a problem basically making this type of communication, because I do in fact trust you. I trust that you trust me when I say this. My friends, I am definitely out of time, and this damn flight issue will not stop me any further. So if you want to be the agent who works with me for, I suppose and presume, the rest of my natural life, which hopefully will be good and long, after all, I know that the medical benefits I hear the
medical benefits for presidents and former presidents are pretty damn good. So let's try to see if I can live to a ripe old age of 200. Let's just get to 100 if we can. My friends, I need to get to DC now. The matters that I discussed in my presentation that I sent this morning.
Joseph Firmage is a multidisciplinary scientist, macroeconomic strategist, technology, industry pioneer, philanthropist, and a highly respected author and lecturer on the future of humanity in our world. He has led the raising of over $400 million in capital and returned a net of over $4 billion to capital investors over his 35-year career. Virtually all of his earnings have been put forward into the companies and projects that are now consolidated into Science Invents and the Science Invents Alliance, set to reveal remarkable new technologies. Beginning in 2022 and onward, Joseph is considered a father of several technological revolutions in his 35-year career, including the first effective visual programming tools empowering non-programmers to build apps starting in the late 1990s onward, the formation of the largest internet economy engineering and web design firm in the world during the rise of the Internet, US Web, CKS, serving over 50% of the Fortune 100, including the joint collaborative effort with Microsoft, Intel, Cisco and others to establish software as a service, SaaS, and propelling online video conferencing for later broad scale adoption. For the past 20 years he has been leading physics and engineering teams designing and building new types of propulsion engines for spacecraft that can open the way for humanity to travel swiftly enough to make interplanetary and even interstellar travel feasible over the next 20 years. During those 20 years, the topic of UFOs has been discussed, revealed, and respected far more widely than ever, and will soon come to know that Joseph Firmage knew what he was talking about regarding UFOs. Joseph brings a long history of providing technology, briefings, and advice to U.S. government departments and agencies. His commanding knowledge of history, politics, global conflicts, and macroeconomics have been called upon on several occasions for briefings and collaborations with industry and government leaders. His mission is to catalyze and help lead a new renaissance for humanity.